Morning, guys. Oh, this is a shitty video. I am gonna get upset. Just give me a minute. Not because of what's been said. Just because of the wider implications, shall we say. As you can probably tell, I'm sat in my car. This is not to do with anything, don't worry, don't panic. It's just, I've just been to the petrol station and I just thought, if I go back in the house now, poochie woochies will start barking and it's just easier to sit in car. If it hadn't been raining, I'd have done it sat under Dela. But anyway. So, completely random. But, last couple of days I've noticed a cat wandering about on the street. Quite a distinctive cat. And I thought, I wonder if somebody's missing a cat. So I looked on the local page, Facebook page, to see if anybody were missing a cat. There were no posts about a cat, but what there was were lots of local businesses were putting notices up about reopening on 4th of July and how they were going to be operating and functioning under, these silly new rules and one thing and another with the current situation we're in. And you all know my stance on things. And the reason my stance on things is as it is because I've done my research on things. I'm no conspiracy theorist, I'm no tinfoil hat wearer. I have actually done research. I ain't just taken things off some Facebook site or some random website or some random YouTube site. I've actually done proper research. I've looked at, government's lied to us, but I've looked at government sites. I've looked at proper statistical sites. I've read peer-based review journals. I've listened to multiple virologists, epidemiologists, biologists, world-renowned virologists and epidemiologists and biologists. And those of you that are in the same mindset as me will know that at the point we're at now, there are hundreds, if not thousands of them, doctors coming out and speaking out, saying the same thing. And one of the first things I found out, as a lot of you will know, is that our own government, back on the 19th of March, stated on their own website, www.gov.uk, on the high consequence infectious diseases section, stated that they had downgraded COVID-19 as, well, they downgraded it from being a HSID to not being one of those anymore because of information that they gathered, the data that they gathered, and its low mortality rate, etc., etc. The information's all there for you to see yourselves. Blah de blah de blah. As a result of that, if you go on the website and scroll down, it explains what a HCID is, explains how viruses in that category are passed on, gives you the viruses that fall into that category and how they're passed on. And COVID-19 does not fall into any of those categories. Therefore, it shows that it cannot be transmitted in the manner that a high contagious infectious disease would be. If, as in airborne particles, snot, spit, etc., if it could be transferred, contracted in that manner, it would still be classed as a high consequence infectious disease. It would still be in that category because it would be easy to catch if that was the case. That's one of the reasons that they downgraded it, because you can't catch it that way. Okay? That was part of the research that they did. Plus, you can't catch viruses that way. They've got to be injected. Anyway. So as a result of that, and not only that, virus particles are so small, 500 million of them can fit on a pinhead. I've said this before, I've said this a number of times. So wearing a mask is pointless because they can get through the mask. Wearing a mask also is not good for your health, it's not good for your own respiratory system. And people will say, well, how does it work? Somebody put a post up the other day about Schrodinger's mask. Well, if a virus can get in, why can't you breathe in, get out? Well, that's because moisture particles are bigger than a virus cell. It's basic science, okay? All cells are different sizes. Bacteria cells are bigger than virus cells. That's why they knew about bacteria before they knew about viruses. Because they couldn't even detect, they weren't even aware of viruses until they had electron scanning microscopes, because they didn't even know they existed because they were so small. Anyway, so they can get in, but the carbon dioxide can't get out. So yes, the masks are not good for you. I've said this before. I've done lots of research, so I do fully understand what it actually means when they say they have downgraded it. So, as I say, there were lots of businesses posting what was going to mean for them. Having a friend, a very good friend, who has a small business, I'm fully aware of the negative impact this is having on her as a business owner. So I thought I would share that document, you know, put a bit of information out. I thought, you know, things have shifted a little bit. More people seem to be waking up a little bit to what's going on. People seem to be realise that we're being lied to a little bit. So I put the information up there, I shared the document, told them that it had been on there since the 19th of March, explained that that means that we do not have to wear a mask, and that you also do not have to social distance at 2 metres. I didn't say do not go do this, do not go do that. I said you do not have to. Also said that Dr. Fauci, even though I don't like him and neither does Trump, had stated that it was no worse than a bad case of the flu. Now, I'm not saying that the flu isn't bad, and I've also never said there isn't a virus. Coronavirus is a virus. It's been around since the 80s. I've known about it since the 80s. Well, silly old me. I got the bah response, didn't I? Absolute barrage of abuse. Barrage of abuse. So initially, the group admin took it down. So I messaged admin and I said, why did you take my post down? So admin put it back up. The abuse continued. So I just replied to everyone, have you actually read the document? Have you actually read the document? The abuse continued. Take it on the chin, that's fine. Eventually, I replied and I said, I'm simply pointing out the government's, this is the government's own website. I'm not making it up. It's no conspiracy theory. There's no lies. This is the government's own website. It's there for you to read. I'm not telling you something that I've made up out of thin air. Just read it. That's all I'm saying. I'm not telling you to do something. If you don't want to do it, fine. Don't do it. Information's there. Do with it as you see fit. But there's no need to give me such abuse. Eventually, somebody said, I absolutely agree. You don't deserve this abuse. Blah, 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 blah. However, maybe you shouldn't have said this, maybe you shouldn't have said that, and I do hope you'll reconsider your thoughts. And I thought, well, no, why should I reconsider my thoughts? I've done my research, and I have done my research. You all know me. It's one of those things that I do. And there were a couple of people, as I say, that thought I didn't understand what it meant. Why would I not understand what it meant? It explains it in plain English. I know full well what it means. It explains what a high consequence infectious disease is. Flu itself is a killer. I know how bad flu is. Believe you me. When I used to work for social services, I had clients that died from flu. I know how bad flu can be. I'm not an idiot. More abuse. I'm a dickhead, I'm this, I'm that, I'm a tinfoil hat wearer, I'm a conspiracy theorist, nah. I had one person tell me she were a nurse and she'd been out there on front line, because I said, well, have you spoken to any nurses? Have you done this? Have you done that? And she went, well, I'm a nurse. Fine. Tell me your experiences then. Let's talk about it. Another person were like, I'm going to remember your face. It's people like, fine, good. Remember my face. Come and talk to me and I will share the information that I've got with you. Because that's what we need to do. We need to share information. We need to discuss these issues. Not go, nah, you're wrong. Nah. Because that's what everybody were doing. And then eventually, a lovely lady came on and went, well done, Kat. Good on you for being brave enough to speak out. And you're right. What you're saying is right because of put this really long post on with all this information. She actually had some information that I didn't know about somebody getting caught with some biological samples. But anyway, that's another issue. Anyway, eventually I just stopped replying because I just kept saying, "Have you read the document? Have you read the document? Have you read the document?" Which I don't think any of them had. Only one person told me they'd read the document, and that was the one that thought I didn't understand what it was saying. But we'll leave that one to one side because that's somebody who I know on a personal level. Which that one bugs me a little bit. Anyway. And then I've just, you know what it's like, ting, 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 with all notifications. And then they've all sort of like been arguing amongst themselves, and when at last sort of really sort of like bugbear, abusive comments like, "You can't educate pork." Oh, for God's sake, you know? How insulting. I know the person that said that. And he thinks he's a bit above himself anyway, but jeez. But what bothers me more, say what you want, I really don't care. I've got, you know, big fat chin. I can take it. I've got thick skin. But what upset me, oh, here we go, it worries me, because somebody had said, she thinks that all governments, they're all in it together. Well, yeah, they are. Fauci sent the bloody... Fauci were experimenting under Obama administration on the coronavirus, and when he decided that, you know, they weren't getting anywhere with what he were trying to do with it, he sent it to Wuhan lab. This is common knowledge. It's common knowledge. It's been discussed in bloody hell, press conferences. It has been discussed in press conferences on American TV. You know, like Boris and his bum chums come onto our TV at tea time. Well, it's been spoken about, excuse me, fizzy bum, on American, like, tea time news. They're all aware of it. It's not a secret. It's not some conspiracy theory. They all know about it. And that research was sent to the Wuhan lab about 4 or 5 years ago with millions of dollars of funding. And I think I must have referred to that in the post as well, or something along those lines. Or I'd mentioned Fauci. So because I'd mentioned Fauci, like I say, all governments are in, she thinks all governments are in together. Well, yes, they are. We know this. But if that side of the governments continue to do what they're doing, all this social isolation continues. I mean, thank the Lord, not the Lord, but you know what I mean, that when the kids go back to school, they're not going to be socially isolating, because it is seriously damaging our kids' health, seriously damaging their health, their mental health. There's so many doctors spoken out about this, and this isn't like anything to do with whether there is or isn't a virus. I haven't said there ain't a virus, but, you know, what kind of virus it is or anything like that. There's so many doctors spoken out about the impact of mental health on our children, the domestic violence situation, mental health on adults being in isolation, suicide rates have gone up, all this kind of stuff. the social impact this is all having on everyone is just dire. The economic impact it's having on everyone is just dire. And it's just like, what worries me and upsets me more, if people are still plodding along like good little sheep, what chance do our kids stand? It really, really, really breaks my heart for the likes of our Lola. What world has she got to look forward to? Because if people aren't going to listen, if they're not going to wake up, if all they're going to do when somebody like myself, I wasn't being nasty or negative or anything in that post, it was simple. Here's the information, have a look for yourself. Please read it. All I'm saying is you don't need to do this and you don't need to do that. I wasn't telling them not to go do it. And all I got were a barrage abuse. Like I've said, I'm not bothered about the abuse I got. It was just that instant, nah, you're wrong, you're this, you're that. And a lot of these people must have kids, and it's just like, what chance do these kids have? If people aren't even gonna look at another opinion, there's just no hope for them. There's no future. There's just no future for them. We might as well just fucking give it all up now. Because while ever, they are still the majority. Because too many people, there's too few people who have got the balls to say something. And when people like me, who have got the balls to say something, do, there's too few people that then have the balls to say, yes, you're right, I agree, or yes, I agree with you, or, oh, I've not thought of that, or, I'm not sure if I agree, but I'll have a look at that. Why can't people just say that? Or, I don't think I agree with that, but I'll have a look anyway. Because that's what I'd do. I wouldn't automatically shout someone down. And I don't get this mentality of nastiness, this negativity all the time. Oh, it's bad enough that there's this division between the races. I mean, it's bad enough in this country anyway. You know, it were bad enough between the whites and the Asians, especially in the north of the country. I know there's issues down in, like, the area, like Luton. I know Luton's quite a divisive area. But up in the north, we've got some particularly bad areas where it can be quite difficult between the whites and the Asian Muslim population. We all know that. It's no secret. But now, with bloody BLM that kicked off in America, and bloody Marxist shit that's now being driven over here, we've now got, well, not now, but we've got whites against whites. Well, it's not just whites against whites, but we've got, it were bad enough for the last 4 or 5 years with Brexit shit, but that's another thing that I can't get my head round. For the last few years, nobody, or the majority of people, didn't trust the government as far as they could throw them over Brexit. And now it's like, oh yes, we must listen to the government because the government are trying to protect us. Well, hang on a minute. Last year you didn't trust them. But now the government are doing everything to protect you. So where's this switch come from? But it's still just all this constant negativity. Nobody has got a nice word to say about anyone. Or nobody can even... You can't have a different opinion to anyone without getting a fucking abuse. And it's just driving me mad. And it's all this division all the time. They've got us exactly where they want us. And it's bad enough what it's doing to each other, but it's what are we leaving behind for our kids? So stop thinking about yourselves. Just take a step back. Swallow your pride. Stop being a knob. Have a little think that somebody else might have a brain. Somebody else might have done a little bit of research without having a fucking piece of tinfoil on their head. There are other people out there with brains, and there are other doctors, and there are other people that do research. Because it's funny that all the information on Google about viruses has been changed after the 20th of March. Because I was researching it, and then lo and behold, it all changed. Because if you go on Google, all first page, 20th of March, 20th of March, 20th of March. That's why I went and bought books instead. Luckily, I've already printed out some peer-reviewed journals and papers from before that date. See, that's the thing. Like I say, I haven't just looked at Facebook doctors, you know, than people that think the doctors. And I don't think I'm some Facebook doctor. I'm not that stupid. But I did spend a lot of time working in health and social care. You learn things. You learn where to look for your information. You learn where to find trusted sources. But we have to stop all this attacking each other just because they have a different opinion. It has to stop. Just because you don't agree with what they're saying, or just because they're not going along with the current narrative. Ask why they don't agree with the current narrative. Ask where they've got their information from. Ask what the reasoning is why they don't believe, or what's made them look at a different path. Somebody said to me, I think those people who've lost people might disagree with you, Kat. And I went, yeah. I've lost people too. Well, my family have lost people too. Meant that my grandma couldn't go to the funeral. Well, yeah, my grandma couldn't go say goodbyes to her only brother. She couldn't go to the funeral of her best friend's husband. There's a lot of things that people aren't being able to do because of this. There's a lot of people who've passed away of illnesses that they already had, who have had COVID put on the death certificate, who are absolutely up in arms about it as well. There's a lot of things going on, but you don't hear about that. You only hear what they want you to hear. And those are the people that have given me the shit. But that's fine, give me all shit you want. Remember my face, good, remember it. If you want to stay away, stay away. You probably never came anywhere near me anyway, that's fine. It's not a problem. But what I'd rather you do is come near me and ask me for my research. That's the better thing to do. That's the more grown up, sensible thing to do. Instead of just swearing at me and being pathetic and childish. Because we are grown ups, you know. We can talk to each other like adults. We've got to get this right, and we've got to get it right now. And like I say, if not for each other, for the kids. Because there's another document around that anybody can go look at. Planning and preparedness. Oh gosh, what's it called? Planning and preparedness. Oh damn, I'll have to find it and put it in the description. But apparently, all this is going to go on until the 31st of March 2025. And I didn't pull that out of my tinfoil hat either. It's a woolly hat, not a tinfoil hat. Anyway, I best go. I've got my tablets to take. Because that was something that were brought up and all. I thought I'd forgot my tablets. So I made a point of telling them that I always take my tablets. Can't forget my tablets. Can't function without my tablets. We've got to start working together instead of against each other. Just stop being so negative, people. If you don't like what somebody says, fine. Disagree, that's fine. Just don't be so nasty. There's no need. It serves no purpose in this world. Just build up blackness within you. That's all it does. Build up blackness and hatred within you. Not me, within you. So I'm in a good place. Well, apart from worrying about my little lady. Anyway. We've got to make this world a better place for them. Oh God, I sounded like Michael Jackson. Ooh. Anyway, I'm going to go now. Love to you all.